Welcome to the Heart to Heartland podcast. Here are your hosts.
Welcome back to another episode of Heart to Heartland. I'm Isabelle.
And I'm Soile.
And as you can tell from the title, we have a very special guest on today. And it's a
Yes.
very lengthy interview, so we're going to be doing it in two parts. So saying that, we're going to jump right into the interview. But before we do, I thought we would, read my grade 4 book report about Heartland.
Yeah, I've been waiting for this.
It's
I've seen
absolutely
teasers, but
So grade 4, I would have been about 9 or 10. So please keep that in mind before you judge me.
Okay. Oh wow, that's like
Look at
dedicated,
Amy's wearing a pink dress,
as she always does.
which I assume, and Spartan is brown, and Pegasus is black. So that makes sense.
Are
That
you?
makes a lot of sense.
I don't know how to ask this, but are you colorblind?
Yes.
Okay.
So let's read what I wrote here. Okay, Heartland by Lauren Brooke, coming home, healing horses, healing hearts. The setting takes place at Heartland, the barn, and the house. Characters: Amy, Ty, Soraya, Lou, Grandpa, Scott, Truan, Mom, Matt, and Carl. Problem and conflict: Amy's mom dies, and Amy thinks it's her fault because she made her mom go out in a storm to rescue a horse, and a tree fell on her.
Is that what happened?
I think that's what happens in the books. I'm starting to have deja vu.
Okay.
Okay, now the main events. The
Hmm.
main event was taking care of horses in Heartland. Taking and fixing horses and finding horses new homes. Take a shot every time I say horses. The conclusion. Amy I cannot spell. Reelsed her mom, went to save horses' life, and that was a good thing. That's the conclusion? Okay. Did you like the book? Oh god, this should be good. It was a sad book, but it was cool. I don't know what else to tell you guys. That was my
I
book
mean,
report.
A+, I would say.
I'm trying to think of what grade I got on this. I don't know. But I've been doing this shit a long time, guys. That doesn't no. What is that? No. Well, in my defense, I don't think was I watching the show at that point? There was a point where I didn't like the show and I only liked the book, so maybe that was this phase. I don't know. Why she's wearing a pink dress? Not sure. Why is there a random tree? Not sure. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
And you passed the grade.
I somehow managed to pass school. I know. What can I say?
Just to
Actually,
prove that,
yeah, I literally deserve a senior's discount in this fandom because of that book report.
You've been on it for a long, long time.
I'm doing this way too long, guys. Way too long. And hopefully another season. So
yeah. But we don't have any updates today, but I think this interview pretty much makes up for it.
That's what you guys are here for.
Yeah,
y'all are here for this anyway, so we'll give it to you.
Yeah, let's just roll the
Take
tape.
it away. Ladies and gentlemen, Aidan Moreno.
So today we have our patron saint of this podcast and UK's national treasure, Aidan Moreno, with us.
Woo!
Welcome to the podcast.
Hi everyone.
Best day of my life. Yes, where's Carl? Where is Carl? We don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll ever know, but we can be hopeful.
Yeah, I imagine I have a story for Carl in my head, so I'm sure it exists up here.
So it was about a year ago that we first were introduced to you through Heartland when you started playing Rick. How's this year been for you? 2 seasons in a year?
Oh, true.
Well, that's what it's mad when you think of it like that, because what show has 2 seasons in 1 calendar year? That never happens. So I suppose that was the silver lining of COVID. But on the other flip side, I feel like each season should probably have 18, 20 episodes anyway. So in my mind, it's only 1 season.
Yeah.
Fair.
Same.
Fair. Yeah.
But it's been annoying that it's been the pandemic, because at a time when it should be really fun, you should be able to go out and do promo, and traveling back and forth from Calgary and hanging out with the cast and crew and going out and drinks and all that business. You couldn't do any of it.
Yeah.
So it really made, I wouldn't say it monotonous, but it took away a lot of the enjoyment from filming, because I was having to go 3 days before my scenes to get tested and isolate, and it was constant. So for 1 day work, you spent 6 days of like doing nothing. And to do that for an entire year, I hate COVID.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
You're like the only one. I don't know what you're talking about. Gosh.
What's COVID? What are you on about?
Yeah.
But no, it's apart from that negative part, because I'm a negative Nancy, but of course it's been amazing, and I'm blessed. I do feel blessed though, because I didn't really know about this show before. I'd seen it. I've lived in Canada for 10 years. I'd seen Amy's face mugging about on the telly a few times, but never had I ever sat down and thought, oh, this is for me. Now I'm just as obsessed as you guys. So I feel like I'm like part of the fandom as a fan.
Yeah, you're basically an OG at this point.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like those Sunday Lives, we are the OG group.
Yeah, absolutely. The trio, the 3-in-1.
So yeah, I'm just grateful that it's like giving me it's giving me something to do.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my god.
And it paid the bills. So yeah, it's been amazing. It has been amazing.
Yeah. That's good.
So you kind of answered this question already, but you really didn't know anything about the show before you joined.
Nothing.
Oh
like
my gosh.
I'd seen, as I say, Amy on a horse maybe, and I knew Sean's face and like that accent, because I remember now and again, like if I'd ever describe a Canadian accent, I'd be like, hey there, how you doing? But that's all I'd ever really seen of it.
Did you know that, Sean doesn't actually look like that in real life, or were you like completely stunned?
I didn't know until the end of season 15.
Seriously?
You're lying to me. Are you serious?
I am not lying, because every time I saw him, he had it on. So I can't remember what episode it was, but it was episode 7 of season 15 when we had to shoot some of episode 10 because Gabe wasn't available to come back later. So I got called back last minute and it was all a nightmare, but I was happy to be cashing in them checks. So I was sitting there in the makeup truck, and because my scenes were getting slotted in, I was actually there with Sean, because normally my scenes aren't on the same day as Sean, so I don't see him that much.
Right. And
he was sitting there in the chair and he just finished and I was just starting. So they begun to like take off the wig, and I was like,
Stop hurting the man.
Honestly, I was in utter shock. I was like, and I said to Annie, who was doing my makeup, I was like, what's going on? Like, what's going on? And how do I get a wig? Like, this is amazing. And then when I was like, what? So it was pretty, I didn't know this for a season and a half. So that's good hair and makeup.
The funniest thing I've ever heard. Oh my god, that must have been like horrifying though.
And then he tried to turn around and give me advice on how to file my taxes while it was coming off. So it was the most bizarre interaction.
This sounds like a dream.
Like file your taxes then, or?
And he was probably trying. Yeah, he was probably trying to give me really sound advice.
For sure, but you're distracted.
I was just like watching the wig, like a dog with a squirrel. Instead of paying attention, I was just like, oh my god. But yeah, so I had no clue. So and I didn't even realize that they're the same age pretty much, him and Chris.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
It is. It's crazy. The makeup, it just looks flawless. Like that's like you didn't know, and that's just a testament to the hair and makeup.
Yeah, and even the way he moves and everything, it's just like
his voice, because he changes his voice to like a lower. Yeah.
Yes.
He goes all in.
Who is this person?
Security.
We have an impersonator here.
Yeah. So when you booked the role, were you like looking into like, okay, what's going on in the series? Because I know you've seen Pony Boy and all that, but I think that was after you started acting.
See, I've got to be honest, I still really haven't watched a lot of it.
Okay, yeah. Well,
And that's
There's
me
a
just
lot
being,
to watch. There's a
it
lot.
seems so overwhelming. Like I've tried to start, and I got halfway through season 1 and I was like, this is a big investment for me to be like involved in. And I'm using the scapegoat of, well, Rick didn't know them at that time, so he probably shouldn't know.
Yeah.
Fair. Fair.
Yeah.
But when I got the audition, I obviously then quickly binge watched the whole of season 13. I watched that all in like one day.
Yeah.
And I just did not understand how I was auditioning for it, because I was like, but I was going through my divorce. It was COVID. And I was trying to deal with all of this house and all these animals. And I was like, I don't have time to go to Alberta. I don't have time to do this. So I was really ungrateful getting that audition. But I think that channeled into Rick. So when I did the audition, I was just a real stuck-up Snoochie 2 shoes. And normally I would put on an American-y accent, assuming that's what they want.
Right.
But I just did it British because I was like, they're never going to do it. They're wasting my time. And then the next day they were like, loved it. You've got a Zoom with Heather and Dean and Geordie and all that. And I was like, I'm sorry, what now? I'm sorry, what now? Do they want me to change anything? They were like, just come as you. And then luckily my ex phoned, because we were still sorting out the divorce just before that Zoom. So I was livid just before it happened. And again, it channeled into the character. So if there's one benefit of being married to an idiot, it can book you roles.
I mean, people write albums about, you know, divorces.
How to get a role. Get divorced.
First get married and then
written down. Yeah. Get married for 10 years, I'll get divorced, and then I'm gonna get like a really good role. Thank you. That was really good advice.
So since you have a lot of scenes with Michelle, did you have like a chemistry reading before you start? No.
Which is actually really weird. Because normally you always would. But I think COVID was a huge player in that.
Yeah.
Right.
But Michelle told me after the fact that I pretty much had the role before I even auditioned for it, which is really annoying because I wish I knew that before I auditioned for it, because why did I get so stressed out about it?
Right.
Yeah.
And why did I have to do 2 callbacks? And like, were they just like, let's just wind him up here. Let's just do this. But apparently from when I was in Jan, which is done by the same production company, they'd watched it. 724 produce Heartland as well. And they were like, for this character, we know exactly who you want. And Heather pretty much, have you ever seen Veep? Has anyone seen that show?
Yes,
I've only seen the GIFs.
Right, but pretty much, I again, I don't know it that well, but that woman who plays the president or the vice president, her assistant, how he's annoying and like, that's who Heather wrote it as inspired to be.
Interesting. That makes sense.
So if you wanted to like get an idea of that, Soile, that's what it came from originally, and then it turned into this big camp British person. So I don't know where that went.
Love that. That's like your own twist. That's like Aidan's gift to Rick, is just your British talent.
Yeah, like speaking of that, actually, have you created this background for Rick? Because I know there's some things we know, but like not much.
Well, the first season, when I knew I was doing this, I went in to see if I could find the original breakdown of the character. And I actually missed, again, because of what was going on in my life at the time, the first 3 words are a gay man. I missed that.
Start it with
because
that.
That's why I was so shocked in season 15 when they presented my husband. I was like, oh, so they are confirming this. Oh, I didn't know.
Oh my
God. And they were like, you didn't know, then why have you been acting like that?
God,
But
they were like, you're nailing it, like awesome.
just
and you're like, huh?
just be you.
Well, that's why when Michelle in a blog post said we've got our first homosexual character, and I was like, am I?
Did I just come out of the closet? Like, what's going on here? Yeah.
But no, the backstory for the first season, I knew what my purpose was. It was just comedic. What's the word? I don't know. But the opposite of all that heartache that was going on in 14. Yeah. And I knew I was there to support the comedy of Lou's storyline. So as much as you want it to be about you and whatever, I knew my place and I knew I was grateful to have a job. So I was like, shut up and just do what you're told. But then in between 14 and 15, I obviously am quite overbearing. So I became friends with everyone. And I was like, hi, everyone, I'm really involved in this, even though my character's this big. And so I told Amber all of my ideas. And she was like, okay, then you need to send them to me. And so I PDF'd like this storyboard of all of my ideas for Rick. And none of them were taken up, but I personally think a lot of them were then used for other characters, but that's all I'll say.
Mic drop.
Yeah, I wanted to know more, but okay.
Dang.
No, I just gave like hints of storylines, and then when I watched season 15 I was like, oh, that's very similar to what I said.
Oh my god, that's like a fan thing. They copy Soile's fanfic. Do you know how many of her fanfics are actually on the show? It's kind of scary.
Didn't you say something was pretty much like for like of what you've written before?
Exactly the same in season 15, right?
Just Katie replaced with Georgie, basically.
Yeah.
But I mean, everyone has different ideas. But yeah, I do have like an idea, and I was trying to link Rick to horses or why he would be there, because that has always bothered me. I just don't understand why this British guy is in the middle of Alberta working in a mayor's office. Like, I want to know why. How did he get there? And I was hoping when I saw his mum coming in that we were going to understand why he was there. But again, I need to remember he's there for the comedic value. But I'd like him to be more linked to like horses, and I'd like some kind of family member to link him there. So like a Canadian relative.
Well, like,
you get what I mean?
Why don't we just say that Carl's a cowboy? Like, you fell in love with the cowboy.
That's
and
true.
Like the horses involved, and so you actually hate it there, but you love Carl. I feel like that would work, you know?
But then Carl's never there.
Yeah, literally. He's on the farm.
But no, I think he should like do Tinder dates for Amy in Maggie's or something.
For sure.
Or even just for friends. Is there a Tinder for friends? Because that girl needs friends.
Is there like Bumble? Yeah.
Bumble's used for dating, but whatever. It's supposed to be a friend.
My friend in London went on a Bumble date last night. That is not for friends.
Yeah. I think that's how it's advertised. Speaking of being a gay man in real life and as a character, what has me? How has it been playing the first LGBTQ plus character? Like, what's the reception been? And I'm obviously
Canon. Hello.
Yeah.
I've really enjoyed it, but I wish I had just some input in it, just only a little, but I really do. And again, it's hard because you don't want to step on anyone's toes, and you don't want to seem ungrateful, and you also need to learn your place. And I hope I don't get shot for this, but yeah, I just really like, oh, are you okay with this? Or like,
does this seem authentic and all that?
Is this a stereotype you feel comfortable playing into? But they have handled it well so far. But I just, if it goes forward, I would like some just a conversation about it, to be honest, because I don't know if anyone in the writing room is LGBTQ plus. I don't know if you guys know, but I'm not sure if anyone is. And so I always think with people of color or any minority, from a straight white male perspective, which is the majority of the TV and film industry, it's all well and good putting people on TV that aren't a straight white male, but to speak on their behalf then is sort of not solving the problem at all, is that you've got to tell it from other people's perspective.
Yeah.
So I know, again, it's a small comedic part, but if there's any kind of development, because it's a big thing to have a big old gay on Heartland, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
Unfortunately,
hi.
yeah.
Like, loads of people have just pressed stop on the podcast.
Well,
Well,
if they've made it this far, I mean, they would have stopped
That's true.
like
Yeah.
episode
And-
3 or something.
And
But
they
I'm
did.
proud of them for doing it.
Yeah.
Agreed. It's not easy with, the fan base.
Yeah, I mean, I am someone who is never a victim. Like, I am one of the, I think it's the British or European thing, but I'm very just like, get on with it. Half the time I would say things not very nice back, but I've grown a little, I've matured a little. So I know it's their problem a lot of the time.
Exactly.
But don't get me, it still gets to me. Like, I can still remember every single bad comment, but I can't remember the majority of the good ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? You always remember that one negative one, as much as it's like, I'm a bigger person, I don't have to deal with this. But the amount of utter crap that has been said is ludicrous.
Yeah.
Like, what was it? The scum of the earth on our telly show and all this. And it's like, this is a fake name, but I'll be like, Janine from Wisconsin.
Alabama.
Like, take a look at your profile pic, babes, and maybe improve that before coming. Like, or you look, or sometimes I do look at their profile and I'm like, darling, like, come on.
This ain't
But
worth it. Like, do
you
better.
get what I mean?
Yeah.
But then I'm not even but then I try and not even get that petty. I get annoyed with myself when I do that, because I'm like, why am I giving these people that space? Because what is wrong with a gay person being on Heartland? Like, I just don't get what the problem is. If people aren't married and people are sleeping with people before they're married, aren't going to church, are drinking, people have been in prison. There are so many of the mortal sins that are committed.
And I think TV has to reflect the reality. Like, no one is one way, or and I think for me, like, especially like coming from very white country, like that's been my, like, the thing that's helped me to kind of see this kind of different world out there, because that's not something I've grown with, and that's something important for me to hear those like stories and all that kind of stuff. So I always appreciate
it has such a platform, doesn't it? So to not use that platform responsibly in this day and age, and we always use the excuse of, oh, they're old-fashioned, they don't know, or whatever. No, I think it's just, you're a bit of a whatever, I can't say it, but if you aren't accepting in this day and age, there is no excuse anymore. Like, I always used to say, oh, my nan can't know because she's old and she doesn't know. But now I've got older, I'm like, well, if she doesn't accept that, then she's not really a nice person, is she?
Yeah.
I went through
I know that sounds harsh, but it's harsher the other side of that.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, have you thought about how that person's feeling instead? Like, just because of who you love or, who you are, you're not accepted. It's not right when you really think about it. When you put it in black and white, it's not right. It's awful, actually.
And the fact that people have picked up on it so much that it's a problem. Like, I don't like that guy on Heartland. But it's so obvious why they don't like, because they don't say anything. They don't give any critique. I understand if it was about my acting. Can't say a thing about that because I ain't Meryl Streep. But when it's, I just don't like him, it's like, well, could you expand on that?
Yeah, it's kind of like,
do you know what you're saying is wrong and that's why you're not saying it?
Yeah.
Right.
But for it to be such a thing means that it needs to have more of it, because it shouldn't be standing out as such a big thing. It shouldn't be fetish. I can't say it. Fetish size. Is that the word? Fetish. Fetish.
I mean,
we know what you mean either way.
Yeah.
Don't ask me.
Hey. Yeah. So no, it's been tough, but again, I am a gay man. So who else should be doing that but a gay man? And yes, it's hard, but life is hard generally as a gay man sometimes. I know times have changed, but I still carry around stereotypes, stigma, and everything. So it's not going to change when I go on the telly, babes, is it? So bring it on. I've been doing this for quite a long time.
Well, as a fellow gay, I would like to say thank you. It's about time we finally had a fellow member on the show. So as someone who's obviously obsessed with the show and gay, thank you.
You are welcome.
It's been great. Thank you so much for the representation.
Well, I just hope that we can do more than just this. Like, obviously, I've had fun with the hello and whatever, but I'd also like to give it more depth and show that we aren't just that. Because I find on TV, gay characters they're just normally the assistant, the best friend.
Stereotypical.
And they're always like, or what are you wearing? Or like, oh my God, she's so catty. Or like all that sort of stuff. But I'd like to take it beyond that, because we're sort of playing into the people that don't like gay people anyway, because we're showing them what they think a gay person is.
Yeah, exactly. And like,
I mean, I am like that, but I just
yeah, but it's like there's so much more as well. Like, you can't like put it in a small box.
Like, we cry, we love, we hate, we get stressed, you know, we get fired, we get hired, we do everything. So to just be the bitchy one in the office is great, but to show the other side, considering how polarizing this seems to be for Heartland fans, I think maybe.
Yeah, and I think with Heartland, especially, like, there's a lot of LGBTQ stories that I've learned, like the suffering of the community or things like that. So I just wish there would be more like these like neutral stories. Like, it's just like, it doesn't have to be either like suffering or like something stereotypical, like just the real
like
life.
It could have just been me and Carl at one of those events, and it not even no issues, just and this is my husband Carl, and then a random storyline with Carl, but nothing going on that's too, I don't know,
they did the bare minimum.
See some more. I definitely want more.
They did the bare minimum when it comes to representation, in my opinion. I think.
What was that one? How did they slip in he had a husband? Did you see that comment? You know, when I turned up at the dude ranch and someone was like, and typical, they slipped in that guy had a husband.
Oh, I saw that.
Like,
yeah.
I was like, oh, I'm sorry. Is he the only one with a marriage certificate? Because the others aren't married, are they? Like,
apparently not.
Because it's not like, you know, you can have Amy have a client or something, and let's say it's a woman, and they're like, oh, my husband, you know, it's like, shouldn't be more of an issue than that. You know, no one's always like, oh, she's married to a man, you know. Like,
exactly.
Okay, and
it's very, very weird, but again, it's not unexpected,
right?
I mean, it just comes with it.
Sure, it would have been nice though to have a warning, like, hey, you know, the fan base is gonna like beat you up for it, so just brace for impact.
Yeah, it has been pretty intense, but I appreciate each and every single person who has been really, because on the flip side, you guys, but everyone who has found me on Instagram, like when I started Heartland, I think I had like 2,000 followers, and then I've only got 10 now, but that's like 8,000 people who don't care about that. So, you know, there are positive sides of it, and everyone's so supportive, sends me little messages and.
Well, the negative is always louder than the positive. It always seems like a lot of the positive people don't comment. Like, I always find that comments are mainly negative, but those stand out the most because it hurts, you know.
The keyboard warriors, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because they don't have jobs or anything. They're just constantly, you know.
And I just don't get that like urge to be like, okay, I'm going on Instagram, I'm finding this profile, I'm getting this picture, and I'm writing this, like, okay,
I'm telling them that I hate them. I don't know them, but I hate them.
Go for a walk.
I've started to just block them now straight away, because there was this guy in, I'm sure it was Texas, And it must have been after I'd done the live with Amber, because obviously a lot of people found me after Amber did that post. And I was like, as much as I was like, oh, great, I was like, oh, God. Because people who, if people like me, they'd already probably be following me. So they're only going to come over to see this. And I just got this long message of, you can't act, you can't sing, you can't do. And to be fair to him, I was like, fair dues, he's getting it out. But I just looked and I thought, why would you send that to someone?
And it's like crazy to think about that, just because you're out there on social media, that you have to just take it, because it's not like if you're walking down the street and someone comes to you like, I hate you, like it's not like you wouldn't be like, okay, bye. Like,
I just don't see why people find the time or the need to tell someone stuff like that they don't know. Like if you've got a complaint, write to the show. Like,
no kidding.
But you're just doing your role. I mean,
it's very weird. But I'm very, to make it positive, I'm very grateful, because regardless of all them, there's people like you. And also it pays the rent, babe. So I
gotta pay the rent.
So the next question actually was like, what's the best and toughest part of your job? I don't know if that answers it all, but
no, I would say that's not even, I don't give that too much space at all. Like, even though I've just gone on about it for 10 minutes, I don't give it that much space. I'd say the toughest part of the job is it being so sporadic, being an actor generally, like you're going from one job to another. And there's not many jobs where you can have a contract, but then you not know when the next one is. But then asked to assume that there will be one, so don't do anything with your life.
Right.
But we're not going to pay you for that. We just want you to wait. But it might not happen, but don't plan anything. So it's like,
oh my God.
So you're like that all the time, like, can I go on holiday? No, you can't. But is it, we don't know. So basically your life is on hold. So unless you're someone like Amber or Michelle, 1, 2, 3, 4 on the call sheet, then you're contracted for seasons. So of course, if CBC renew or whatever, but with the show you are contracted, it's guaranteed. With someone like me, I go from episode to episode. Did I this season? That's a lie. Season 14 was episode to episode. So each episode they'd be like, can you come back? Can you come back? And I was like, as if I'm going to say no. Like, no.
Like,
I'm sorry.
let me just check. Oh my God.
Let me check my
Sorry, babes. I'm a little bit busy right now doing nothing.
I think I might squeeze you in, you know.
Yeah.
But then season 15, I was contracted to episode 2 to 5 or something. So you have to clear that space, but you don't know how many episodes you're actually going to be in. And then after that, I was like, oh my God, does this mean this is the end? Because why have I not got up until episode 10? And then they were like, you're in 7 and 10. And then I'm like,
yay.
And
okay, cool.
So it's just things like that makes it less enjoyable, because if you felt comfortable in it, you'd be able to enjoy it. But literally from the moment you book it, you're then wondering if it's going to continue.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? It's really, but again, I'm not going to complain, because actors get paid well, but you get paid well because you don't know when your next job's coming.
Yeah.
So that was the first part of the interview with Aidan, and we had quite a time, you know. It was a long time.
So much fun. I had to book off like most of the day because of it. It was so much fun. And I feel like there's just 3 talkative people in the same Zoom chat, and this is what happens. So.
And it's funny that you know, we've never like talked like this, like obviously on Instagram and stuff like that, but it's just like when you connect, you connect. But Aidan kept apologizing for talking so much, but it's like that's what podcasts are for. So we loved it, and that's why we wanted to include as much as possible, and that's why this is in 2 parts. So come back next week to hear the rest, because it's a joyful ride with him. And until then, keep your noses clean,
And you're powdered dry. We'll see you next week. Oh my god, I can't believe you're doing this. Thank you so much, Aidan. Oh my god, also, thank you for that reminder. I will straight up pay you for one of those.
Do you want?
I'm serious. Like, I'll send you money for it and shipping and everything. I really need one.
I've actually got another 5 ordered because I sent out 10 of them. And stupidly, when I contacted people, the competition winners, I drew them and messaged people, and then I was like, wait, I've not got enough.
Oh no.
So I think I actually have some spare when they arrive, so I will send you one.
I would be honored. Thank you so much.
And Soile, I'm going to the UK in March, so maybe I'll send you one from there. It'll be cheaper.
Yes, please.
That's awesome. You should just like go to the UK, Soile, and just pick it up yourself.
Because I am never sending anything to Finland again from Canada.
Yes.
Every birthday and every Christmas, I have to save. It's worth it though. I wouldn't do it if I didn't want to.
The flights to London are probably like €5
cheaper
right now.
Well, that's
like
what I
cheaper
mean.
than mail.
But
yeah.
also, I'm like, no way in hell.
Oh my god.
But that's what drives me nuts here. Like, to go to Calgary, it's so expensive, and I've been here for 10 years, and I still don't grasp how air travel is so expensive within one country. When as euros, we're like, have you got 99p? Let's go to Rome. Like,
like might be back for tonight. Like, we'll see.
Yeah. Canadians. Sorry, Izzy.
I love that
I'm
there's someone who finally understands the struggle. Like,
I was writing something down for I forget, so I don't even know what's going on over here right now anyway, so you're good.